I'm telling you, there is genuinely something that you can learn from children and plenty of other age groups in society as well. Children seem to be one of the happiest, most carefree age groups in the world. And sometimes when I look at children who have little responsibilities, or even if they do, they deal with them pretty well because they're kind of building up to being an adult, and the responsibilities that they have are kind of progressive in a weird sort of way, and they just have no stresses and they can go about enjoying life. Having the attitude of a child seems like quite a good thing for your mental health. Being and acting like a child on some occasions will genuinely, in my humble opinion, improve your happiness levels. For me, never letting the inner child or the child itself actually leave you is a beneficial thing for you, in my opinion. Sometimes, I think even in the modern day, sometimes children are actually getting sadder because society is trying to beat the adventure out of people, get them into routines, and make sure that that's the way that they live life. They have the 5-day week, and weekends is when fun happens, and it's kind of repeat. You're not really getting anywhere, and things get a bit monotonous and a bit boring, and that's exactly the opposite of childhood for a lot of people. If you were bored, you'd go have fun in the woods, you'd go call up your friends, and I feel like that is getting a little bit lost today, even amongst children. And then when it comes to people being like adults and teenagers, and there's a lot less childishness amongst people. Like, if I go climb a tree, that's seen as childish, but that gives me more happiness than anyone could ever possibly imagine, and I'm just sitting there like laughing at them like, well, sucks to be you. You go home and be sad and focus on all your adult stuff that only the adults are allowed to look at, and all that sort of stuff. Like, sometimes being a bit more carefree and having, or getting rid of your responsibilities, and by getting rid of my responsibilities, I mean finding the solution to those responsibilities. Once you're an adult and you have responsibilities, you're kind of desensitized to the stresses that responsibilities actually give you, and that can be a good thing. That's the kind of necessary suffering that I talk about. But once you solve the solutions to your problems and you make sure your responsibilities are maintained, having fun and being a child is what I think that you should do at that point, because you can be so carefree, so stress-free, that your dopamine levels, your every single neurotransmitter levels, your hormone levels will just suddenly click and start to balance again, just as if you were a developing child developing normally in the world around us. And it's just being a child just seems like the best thing that you can do for yourself, for your mental health, and even for your physical health in some senses. Like, if I build a den, just like how I climb a tree, that's seen as childish. But like this, I'd be sadder if this den didn't exist. If this was just a holly bush like it used to be before, I would be sadder, if that makes any sense at all. I think that makes a lot of sense to me, because building this den with friends, being a child, acting as if a child would, apart from the fact that I was 16 at the time, that seems like quite an old age. You should be having responsibilities, getting a job, growing up. And at that point, I was looking for jobs, and I do have a job now. I have all these responsibilities with school and college and driving and all that sort of stuff, but I'm still able to act like a child. It's like finding a weird balance between being an adult and being a child. Like, you can learn stuff from adults, being strong and disciplined and stoic, but you can learn things from children as well, carefree, stress-free, and almost having no worries on their mind. And while it would be quite bad for you to have no responsibilities in life at all and try to act like a child that way, it's also quite bad for you to be so sort of choked up with responsibilities that you're unable to do anything at all and have fun in whatever way you please in life. So as I say, taking and learning things from the ways that different age groups act, I think can actually be quite a good thing for you. Being responsible and being strong and stoic and disciplined as an adult would, and hardworking and all that sort of stuff, but also being playful, caring, kind, and naturally aligned before society starts to kind of beat the adventure out of you with routines and school and work and all that sort of stuff. Combining the two and balancing the two is such a good thing, and it will increase your mental health, not increase, but it will improve your mental health to levels that you cannot imagine. Sometimes when I'm speaking to other people, I'm actually staggered at how bad their mental health is. It genuinely makes me sad and makes me rethink my own existence. Like, I am so grateful that I have taken the steps to improve my mental health, because I cannot fathom having a disbelief in myself. I feel so confident in my ability to do things that it genuinely seems like, am I just like arrogant or egotistical or something like that? Let's be honest, who really thinks that having a belief in your ability to complete a task is a bad thing? How on earth is that egotistical? How on earth is having a confidence in yourself egotistical or arrogant in any sense of the imagination? Arrogance can be sometimes seen as a negative personality trait, but in some senses I think it can be quite positive. If you work hard to obtain achievements and then talk about them, there's nothing wrong with that. Working hard to obtain achievements that you can be proud of, there's nothing wrong with that. That is not arrogant, or arrogant as it is currently said in the modern way, at all bad in the slightest. I think that is a perfectly fine thing for you to do. Seriously, this is the one thing that I do, acting like a child, being a child in my natural environment, and doing this on a relatively regular basis. I do find myself that I'm sadder when I have to like do schoolwork and be in school a lot, but now I'm kind of settling down on some of the things that I do for YouTube. I find myself able to spend more time in here and actually be happier, even though I'm making less progress on things that I like to normally work hard on, if that makes sense. But seriously, doing this to improve your mental health will save your life in many different ways. And you'll be staggered when you see people who spend a lot of time indoors, how bad their mental health is. The sun will improve your mental health, the trees will improve your mental health, the dirt will improve your mental health. It sounds like such bullshit, but seriously, it's so true. Nature is like the cheat code to self-improvement. It is the cheat code to succeeding in your life. If you try to get rid of nature from your life, you will suffer. And I've tried to do that. I've tried to make sure that I wake up, I go to school, I work hard, I get home. Sometimes I'm like working at a job, sometimes I'm working on YouTube, and I stay inside all day. That is so bad for you, and I highly recommend not doing that. I highly recommend spending time outside. And summer, for me at least, is the perfect time to do this. Sometimes in winter, I will literally get home and it's already dark, and it kind of sort of, I suppose it deters me from going out in nature, because I guess that's a bit more of a natural response, and the opportunity cost for the reward that I get is less, because there's no sun, there's no daylight, I can't see any of these beautiful trees, I can't see any of this beautiful greenery. So in a weird sense it's less. But if I was out there on a normal school day, if I was out there like during the day when there would be school, then I would be super happy. And sometimes in winter I do that if I don't have school. But this is the cheat code of self-improvement, balancing the being a child, the inner child, by just going around playing, fucking around, having fun, and the responsibilities, the stoicism and the discipline of an adult is basically the cheat code to the kind of goal of a lifestyle that you want in the future. Like, if you can imagine your day, like 10 years down the line, if you can imagine your dream day, some of it's going to be like you're doing deep work to provide for your family, you're having fun with your family in nature, like you're doing both things. You're working hard, but you're also spending quality time, playful time with your family, and then you're also maybe spending time in nature alone. Maybe you're also spending time in nature with your family as well. All that sort of stuff, having that as a balance during a weekly basis, monthly basis, daily basis, that will be so good for you. Get outside, touch some grass, and have a good day and improve your mental health. I recommend subscribing for more content like this, and see ya.